edition of Detroit in Black and White. I'm Adolph Mongo. Jim Nardone over at Ramsey's in lovely downtown Trenton. How you doing?
I'm doing good. We had a little glitch there at the beginning of the show. We missed our music, so.
Well, you know what? I'm going to blame it on some folks that's not here.
Let's go that way.
Ain't no question. Jim,
how are you?
Tell me, Biden, should he stay or should he go?
That's the question. Should he stay or should he go? That's a little clash in the background with Joe Strummer, the late great Joe Strummer, and the clash. So I like to know what the folks out there are thinking. I like to know who's watching the show tonight. Tell us whether Joe should stay or go, and give us a solution out there. If you think Joe should stay, tell us why. If you think Kamala should be the president or running for the nomination, tell us. If it's Cornel West or Donald Trump
or Jill Stein, where we at? We're on Facebook Live. We on X. We are Instagram,
YouTube, Detroit in Black and White on YouTube, and our own website.
Okay, good.
Facebook. So I think people are getting to know where to find us. So what do you think? Should he stay or should he go, Adolph?
And you know what? And I said this quite a bit, that I would vote for dead Joe Biden before I vote for a live Donald Trump. But if we had a choice to force Grandpa out, he should step aside. He would do everybody a big favor at this point, and saying everybody is the Democratic Party, that he should have somebody to step in, and they need a unity ticket. Now listen, they have changed up a lot in politics. There's folks that died in plane crashes, etc., and they had to be replaced. The main one was in Minnesota. I forgot, 89 or whatever. Paul Wellstone, him and his wife died in a plane crash. He was a senator running for re-election. Democrats supposed to win, and he died. So the Democratic Party went and pulled Mondale out of retirement and said, you need to run in his spot. At the end of the day, Republican won, Norm Coleman, by 2 percentage points. So folks saw through that BS because Mondale was, 80 years old? It's like, you know what? Sometimes 80-year-old work, if you know that they're going to be there for 2 seconds or 3 minutes. But we're talking about 4 years that we want to put President Biden back in. And do you really think that after 4 years, he's going to walk out of there and say, thank you for reelecting me, etc.? Because we know at some point, somebody had been telling the Republicans, there was a leak from the White House saying that, the president is losing it. The president is not sharp. The president got a memory lapse. So you just think that Donald Trump thought up on his own that here a 78-year-old saying that this 81-year-old is too old. He had inside information that something was wrong with the president. So that's why he beat up on that agenda for the last year or so. And you know what? It might backfire, because if I was handling Trump, I would have said, leave that alone. He's going to implode himself. You just stay quiet. But, Trump is not a person that you can convince to do anything.
Well, what do you think about what I'm hearing? I think it's a very interesting ticket, would be the vice president and the governor of Michigan. I think if Trump does not pick a woman, female vice president, I think that's going to hurt him. I think that's going to send him into a little bit of a spiral. I'm not
well,
sure what you think.
Well, they got this Project 25 from the Heritage Foundation that says they just going to overthrow the government. They're going to do all kind of shit. They're going to put people in concentration camps. They're going to fire everybody in D.C. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. They're going to make abortion illegal across the board, etc. They do that, and if they get what's his name, J.D. Vance out of Ohio, or the governor out of North Dakota, he's gonna have some real issues with women.
I think it's a step in the wrong direction. It's time for a lady vice president, regardless of the party here, or maybe a president. If the vice president ends up taking that spot, I think with the governor of Michigan, I think she'd have a better than average chance. Michelle Obama. Hey, Karen, I don't think she wants it, but I think that she could be elected. I don't have any doubt that she could be elected.
Well, you know what? Listen, somebody has to convince her. I don't think her husband can convince her. You know, when you got a spouse that's determined, you can't tell them anything. You know, when people say, go tell your wife or go tell your husband to do this, and you got one of those hard-headed spouses who says, no, I'm not. Michelle Obama said, I'm not running. No matter what you say or do, I believe her. I believe her.
I think part of the problem would be that Harris would maybe have to be the president and she would be vice president. I'm sure she would not be interested in second in command there.
Well, you know what? Harris want to run for president. You know her ego. She'll be somebody they would have to deal with. You would have to see the real Kamala Harris, because she can be a real bitch at times. When she ran for the Senate in California and for Attorney General, she didn't play. When she became the vice president, they put her on ice, just like they do anybody else that's the vice president. They put them on ice and they don't let them do anything.
I think a lot of people. Go ahead. I'm sorry. No, I was going to say a lot of people are underestimating her. She was a very strong prosecutor. She's a good lawyer. She was a good lawyer, and I agree. They put her on ice, and they made her irrelevant in this administration. I think that was the wrong thing to do, because now, after the last 3.5 years, it's going to cost them, because now she doesn't have that position in the administration.
Well, and man, now they need her more than ever. And I'll tell you who holds the key to whether Biden step aside or not. It's the Congressional Black Caucus with Jim Clyburn, and here we got Nancy Pelosi on the other side. Now, if they come out and say you got to go, he don't have any protection right now. He got protection from the Black Caucus, but I don't know how long can they stick up for him, because you got these close races in these states that if he continues to say, fuck you, I'm gonna run, he gonna take the whole party down, and they might be looking at a clean sweep all across the board.
Thank you, Karen, again for your comment. Kamala Harris is a strong candidate. They've turned her into a second stringer, and I don't think she should be a second stringer. I may not agree with everything she believes in, but if you look back, she was a strong advocate for law enforcement as her time as a prosecutor, and I appreciate that as a former law enforcement guy.
But that's like if you put somebody like you had Isaiah Thomas and you put him on the bench because you didn't like him, and you know that he knew how to play, you losing out. You losing out somebody that can score 20 points or 30 points, and now you 15 points behind, and you got 8 minutes left in the game. Now you asking Isaiah to come in, but you got the person that's playing point guard don't want to get out.
Or Scottie Pippen. Didn't he do that? Scottie Pippen refused to go back in a game when the Bulls got in trouble.
He had a migraine headache. But
if I were Kamala, the vice president, I'd probably have a migraine headache too, because she should not have been on the sidelines. Now you want her to jump in the game and save you, which is it's a tall task for her. And if she loses, it'll be her fault. And that's
at this point, they got to the end of this month to make a decision on what they're gonna do with the president. What are they gonna do with the president?
Well, you started the night of the debate, and you said there's one guy that can get Joe to quit. First, you talked about Dr. Biden, but you talked about Jim Clyburn in South Carolina. He would not be the president.
That's him. Yeah,
he would not be the president without Jim Clyburn, and whatever Jim Clyburn says, he needs to listen. And Jim Clyburn's kind of stayed out of it, which he's.
And the Congressional Black Caucus is listening to who? Jim Clyburn.
Absolutely.
And they saying, right now the Republican Party is in chaos. They got all kind of issues, and the Democrats, they should have been able to run away with this election, but they haven't. They've been tripping over their own feet. And they have the progressives who don't like Biden. They got the same kind of infighting that the Republicans have. They got all this money, and they haven't spent any of it here in Michigan. What the fuck are they doing?
Where's the money? Where are the visits? What's going on there? So what's going on with Joe Biden was walking a UAW picket line there with Sean Fain. Sean Fain seems like he caught himself up in a little mess. Have you heard that, Adolph?
What did he do? Hire his daughter or sister-in-law or somebody?
Well, a couple things. First, there's a government-appointed monitor, and they've been saying for 2 or 3 months that the UAW is not cooperating with the monitor. And secondly, in 2021, 11 executives were convicted, including 2 ex-UAW presidents. So they were put under kind of government oversight. And now two vice presidents of the UAW have been allegedly, I'll say allegedly, punished because they got in the way of Sean Fain getting benefits for both they call her fiance, girlfriend, I'm guessing, and his sister. So they're investigating that.
Well, he's trying to do a LeBron James and shit. This is what they do. He became what he got in power, and he's doing the same shit that the same people been doing over and over again. To the victors goes the spoils. Line your pockets, get paid.
Hopefully we have some people from the UAW or a couple people watching today. If you're out there and you have an opinion on Sean Fain, let us know that too, if you wouldn't mind. Sean Fain, he won the battle for sure, right? He won the battle of the contract, but will he win the war is the question.
Well, we'll see. The unions, they made the middle class at one time. But, a lot of people ain't feeling it. And then, they're taking their fight to the Starbucks and the fast food places. Are you going to pay? I drink coffee, but I'm not going to pay $15 for a cup of coffee. Or if I was eating hamburgers, I don't want to pay $12 or $14 for a hamburger. because those jobs were jobs for high school students. It's just like when I was a paper boy. I don't know about you, Jim.
I did too. Carried the free press.
And then all of a sudden, paper boys, that the people got laid off at the plant, they ran the little young people out of there because they took the paper routes and shit. And this is what they have done with the fast food places. These was just part-time jobs for high school and college students, and then now it become a career. Punching in a hamburger picture at McDonald's, and you're getting paid $20 an hour.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
And no question. Well, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back. We're going to continue the conversation. We're on at this Detroit in Black and White. We're on Facebook Live. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram, Telegram, Billygram, and all the grams. We'll be right back.
What's on your mind?
What are the issues facing you and your families today?
Before we ask for your vote, Alyssa Slotkin wants to hear about your concerns.
Democrat Alyssa Slotkin is running for U.S. Senate, and she wants to have a real conversation about your issues.
Is it support for our small businesses, funding for our schools, good-paying jobs, or opportunities for our youth?
Alyssa is already building a campaign around listening.
It's how she shapes her agenda in Congress.
And why Alyssa's already been endorsed by small business owners, pastors, and leaders from our community.
We know too many campaigns come to us right before the election and ask for our vote.
That's not Alyssa. She has a reputation for listening and delivering.
And this is your chance to help shape the agenda in Washington.
Make your voice heard. Go to alyssaslotkin.org/community.
Because in this campaign, your ideas come first.
I'm Alyssa Slotkin, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Slotkin for Michigan.
Without Project Clean Slate, there is no telling where I would be right now.
It gave him back his life, because once he got the felony, it seemed like life was over.
Being unemployed, being depressed, being a burden. Project Clean Slate helped wipe those things away. I can't say thank you enough. I am now able to work for a reputable airline. Detroit had my back, all because I live in Detroit.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabria, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Welcome back. Listen, we've been talking about, whether or not President Joe Biden, Grandpa should step away and let somebody else. But let's look at it on the other side. Should Trump be the Republican nominee?
Well, I'm going to answer that after I talk to Karen here for a second. Did we call that a black job? I don't remember anybody calling a job a black job or a white job. Did we do that, Adolph? I don't recall.
Listen, I know Trump called that the immigrants, illegal aliens, as he called them, was going to take all the black jobs. I want to know what black jobs was Trump talking about.
Okay.
But I say he's not qualified to be president again. They need a clean sweep.
I agree with that.
Let's do a do-over.
That's what I said. I suggested that a year ago, or that we give the vice president a year, let him let Joe Biden step aside, President Biden, and we do need a do-over. I'm agreeing with that 100%. But I don't know how you pull that one.
But and I know that the Republicans are not going to do a do-over. They're in a cult. They're in a cult. They are drinking the Kool-Aid. They if Trump told them to go kill their families, I believe some of them will do it. You know, that's how crazy some of them are. And here we got Democrats on the other side that, you know, behind closed doors, they want Biden to leave. They should come out and have a press conference, all of them, and say, Mr. President, please leave. Just like the Republicans told Nixon during Watergate, bye. You going to jail or you need to leave the White House. And he left the White House because they said, we're going to impeach your ass. You know, and Nixon had the shit. He beat McGovern in every state, even McGovern's own state of South Dakota. McGovern only won Massachusetts and D.C.
Right.
And 3 years later, Republicans said, bye, get the fuck out. Because they know he was crooked, he was a thief, he was whatever. So, but we don't have that. And the Democrats, it's like, say what you're going to do. Now, I worked for Coleman Young for 8 years. And those last 4 years, he shouldn't have been the mayor. He was sick. He was in his 70s. He had emphysema, couldn't breathe, on an oxygen tank, but he was still a sharp guy. But he couldn't run another term. And I tell you, Dennis Archer, who he had ran one of the former mayor campaign as a young guy, he knew that too. Everybody knew that the mayor wasn't up to it. And he got out there and he said, I'm running regardless of what the mayor is going to do. He knew the mayor wasn't running. And all those folks did the president a disservice by not telling him, really saying, you can't run. You forgetting things. You know what? You take the keys from your daddy. Listen, my father taught us how to drive, taught me how to drive, taught everybody in the family how to drive. He could drive. But when he turned 82 years old, my mother said, I can't get in the car with him anymore because his eyesight was gone. You know, it's time to take the keys. You know what? That's the hardest thing to do. And all he wanted to do was, I'm only driving to go to church and a couple other things. But he couldn't do that. And somebody got to make those decisions and said, you got to take the keys from grandpa. And if they don't take the keys, it's going to be a train wreck. You can't drive.
So why isn't the Democratic Party coming out to places like Detroit and Philadelphia and Dallas, Texas, and asking the people what they think about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and who should be running? You know, they asked, you know, we talk about Jim Clyburn and we talk about all these other people, but they don't seem to care what the American people think, whether you should be running or not. They only care when it shows up.
Democrats always overlook their base. They don't give a fuck about Detroit or Milwaukee or Cleveland or Chicago or those places until election time. And then they sit on all this money that they raise and they don't go and spend any of it in these cities. They go hire these folks from someplace else who go in there and say, I give you $5 to go and whatever you're going to do.
They're spending the money. They're spending the money that the union workers donating to the Democratic Party, and they're spending the money that the executives at Exxon are paying to the Republican Party that has Donald Trump. But nobody's coming out and asking the voters whether Joe Biden should be the president or Donald Trump should be the president. That's what it feels like to me.
Well, you know what? The bottom line is the Democrats, the strategy they don't have. Listen, over in the 10th congressional district, you have Carl Marlinga and John James. John James is drinking all the Kool-Aid with those Republicans who, man, they don't like him, but and he don't like himself. But this is the time where the Democrats can really take that seat. And they're not putting any money over there yet with Carl Marlinga, who has a name, who's been there, who has a record. Listen, why haven't they treated that like that's an important seat if we're going to keep Congress? What do we got? We got a Senate race that they picked. They picked a person right off the bat, and now if Alyssa Slotkin wins, she's favored to win. How they gonna get folks that supported Hill Hopper and others to come to the fold? That's what they need. They need to have a long game, and they don't have a long game. It's a panic game.
Well, we've had Hill Hopper.
They're going to be in a panic, and they're going to come to Detroit. Please bail us out. Please get the people out to vote. And at this point, you got a lot of young folks saying they're not voting.
The Democratic Party has dismissed Hill Harper. What a dynamic, what an interesting young man, right? And they just pushed him to the waist.
Yeah, they'll beat him up. And, instead of just letting it play out, because Hill Hopper has a future in politics in Michigan. And you know what? We not using it. And then we got two congressional incumbents. One, Rashida Tlaib hate Biden. She telling her people to stay home. Sri Thanadar, I don't know what he's telling folks, because there's folks that don't want him. The Michigan, man, Flint might lose that Dale Kildee seat up in Genesee County. Have they sounded the alarm on ask folks? Have you sounded the alarm? Are you worried? And I guess not. It's not panic time. I don't know.
Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about the Carl Marlinga and John James seat. Where is John James? Has anybody seen or heard from John James? I know he was on stage.
John James sat there and let people like Tommy Tupperville and Jim Jordan trash the military, saying that anybody black that's in any kind of position, general, etc., are not qualified to be there. And here he went to West Point, smart young man, and didn't say not one thing. I would go crazy on those assholes, but this is John James. John James is a carpetbagger who moved from Oakland County to Macomb County because Democrats just conceded that seat. And they didn't have to concede it, but they did. And nobody's talking about it. So we might have Michigan might go away of 2016. Wisconsin.
That's
Illinois. Pennsylvania. There's a nightmare. This might be a nightmare for the Democratic Party. So Biden is coming in town. Where is he going to go?
He's going to go to Detroit
Detroit where?
And Flint and the cities, Grand Rapids. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's
Can I switch up for just a minute?
ahead.
Detroit has not escaped the violence that took place in Rochester Hills, and Detroit's been on a pretty good streak where we haven't had that kind of violence. We had the NFL draft, we had the fireworks, we've had a lot of events in Detroit this summer, and Detroit has, the Detroit police has done a great, fantastic job out there, and but violence still comes to the city, so like it goes to every other city.
But you know what? I am upset about these two young kids that got killed at that block party. Young man just graduated from Michigan State, just got his fucking degree, and he's dead. And then a little 17-year-old dead. All they wanted to do was some fucking fireworks. That's all. And here we got some asshole coming into a block party. You can't even get together because this is what these fuckers do. These are terrorists, and people know who the terrorists are. They feed them. They let them stay at their house. They know what they undone, and they won't report it. They won't turn them in, and they make excuses for the terrorists.
Thank you, Karen. We're gonna have to get Karen on the show sometime soon. She's right. It is Metro Detroit, and we've had incidents of violence all over Metro Detroit, and it's not just Detroit; it's everywhere. It's sad. It's the same kind of people. So we need to address these young people, and kids need to be home a little earlier. You need to kind of keep an eye on your kid if you can. I don't have any kids, so I don't have a right to say that, but it scares me when those kids are out there 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. That's when the bad things seem to happen.
Yeah, well, but some of these kids, it don't have to be 4 or 3 or 4 in the morning. It can be at school time, where you got some idiot come in and want to shoot up the school. He's mad at the teachers. He's mad at the cheerleaders. He's mad at the jocks or the cool people. You know, when I went to high school, you always had 3 or 4 sets of folks, and here's the cool people, here's the cheerleaders and the jocks, here's the dope heads, here's the whatever. And then you have everybody else who wasn't part of any of the groups, and talking to them 20 years later, 30 years later to some of these folks, and then you realize, fuck, I was part of a team of bullies, or I was part of some assholes, and you don't know that when you're in high school.
Well, I know that,
but these days they want to shoot up. People get mad, and they take it out by killing folks. What we did was suffer in silence, or we fought with the fists.
and I have to give credit to the chief and the deputy mayor and the mayor. They do have a plan, and they're doing what they can to stop it. You're not going to stop it, but I appreciate their response to this recent tragedy here.
And yeah, and they have been, and I have to give the city credit for all the stuff that's been happening, because we during the fireworks years ago, it was always some fights and always some crazy shit, people shooting shit. They got that under control, just like they got the Devil's Night shit under control. It takes a whole city to make it happen. You had the Grand Prix, and you got people getting arrested for being drunk, etc. They do that at the Lions game. You missed the Lions. How many drunk people you see at the Lions fighting?
There's a few drunk people. Mostly they're asleep by the time they get to the third quarter. I see a lot of people kind of passed out in the stands, which is kind of funny when you realize they pay $200 for a ticket.
Because they drank at 6, 7 in the morning, and by the time they don't even see the game and shit. Yeah. But anyway, moving on. Have you read the governor's new book? I know
I
you
have
read
not.
it. I know you mean you didn't go home and you got up in bed, have a little drink besides.
I guess she has some tattoos. I'd rather just look at the pictures.
Oh man. But so she positioned herself for 28, but 28 might have come real soon.
I think 28's 24 right now. I think that 28 people need to look at 24 and see where we're at. And I think Vice President Harris and Governor Whitmer would be a formidable team. And I think people think that the Democrats can't win. Well, they can win. It's interesting. You talked earlier about the Donald Trump people. You know, I love reading the blogs or the newspaper stories and the people's reactions to them. And there's a lot of people that say it's so bad with Biden. I don't like Trump, but I'm voting for Trump. And then there's people like you and people that feel the same way that say it's pretty bad. I just can't vote for Donald Trump. He's a criminal. If you read the Supreme Court decision, as I said before, you're going to be terrified because even though they gave him some immunity, that could be a really scary guy there.
Yeah, he is a scary guy. I like the woman. I don't know. I forgot what state she in, but they got to pay her. The city has to pay her $30-something thousand because she had a sign that said "fuck them both." And they wanted her to take it down. You know, like, listen, court said she got a right. They made the city pay her because they you know what? I like that. I like her attitude. She say, "Fuck them both."
And that didn't end up in court because they just wrote the check before it even got to court because she would have won that in a court of law under the First Amendment. And what about our friend Cornel West, who came on the show several months ago? You know, I always say he's the smartest guy running. If you want to pick the smartest guy in his campaign, you should vote for whoever you want to vote for. But Cornel West is an impressive guy to me.
Well, I talk to his kids. They not impressed. He's not paying that child support. Now, I like Professor West. He is he brilliant. The guy is, but he has an agenda. He fell out with Obama when Obama was running because, you know, and listen, it's all about what? Getting paid in politics. So he felt that he wasn't getting paid by the Democratic Party. He looked at Democrats raising almost $1 billion. He wanted some of the dollars and he didn't get it. And I understand that. It's like when I was beating up on Granholm when she was governor, and they did an interview off the record up in Lansing, and the reporters was asking me, "Aren't you just upset because you're not getting any of the money?" I say, hell yeah, I'm pissed off because they raised all this money, but they want people like me to campaign for. No, I want to be like everybody else. So that's the bottom line. Democrats have all this money at times, and they don't want to spread the wealth. There's always a few people that get paid on every fucking thing. Now, we go back to Trump. If that was Obama on January the 6th telling folks to storm the Capitol and shit, they would have impeached Obama. He would have been impeached. I mean, kicked out. He would have been found guilty. Not just impeached, but he would have been kicked to the curb. Anybody else, I don't know how this guy survived this shit, man.
I agree. Well, I'm going to go back to the governor, our former governor, Granholm. She was going to blow us all away, and some of the kids in the neighborhood were afraid. And today in Trenton, after all that rain, the wind is blowing down here in cloudy Trenton. So we're at Ramsey's on West Jefferson. If you get a chance, stop in and see Johnny and Mia. They're out of town, but they're going to be open Tuesday.
Okay.
Next Tuesday. So
Well, and Johnny, you better not go to any restaurants around there if you don't go into Ramsey's, because Johnny don't forget.
he does have a guard dog here that chewed our pant legs, but we're okay. I'm just kidding. There's no guard dog.
But anyway, as we wrap this up, this has been a great show. A week from now, what's going to happen in DC?
No change. Joe Biden is the guy, and I still believe that Joe Biden probably has the best chance of winning this election. And if you give Donald Trump the opportunity, and he picks a Doug Burgum or a Ohio, I can't think of his name right now, the guy from Ohio, he's going JD Vance. He's going to be in trouble, or one of the other far right, lunatics, the Marjorie Taylor Greene. There's been some talk of her being the vice president. Could you imagine that?
Well, listen, we're going to end on that note. On Saturday, we're going to have the deputy mayor come on and talk about the illegal block parties and the spike in violent crime. And maybe we have a verdict in the murder case of the young Jewish leader. That's the jury is out. I don't think they can. I don't think they can convict him. But anyway, we'll be at McShane's on Saturday at 10 with Vanessa Moss, probably your favorite Alan Lango.
And thanks to the viewers, everybody that's out there. If you still have an opinion about who the president should be or who should be running, you can tell us. We'll see it 2 days from now. If you want to comment, be more like Karen and let us know.
Go on our website, Detroit in Black and White, and leave your comments. And
there's some smart folks out there, and we'd like to hear from them because they might give us a little guidance from here and there, and we appreciate that. Right?
Subscribe,
like, share,
and we'll see you Saturday.